Another lie. And by the way, Meghan, if you don't like me calling you a liar, just sue me and we'll go through all this in court.
An unprecedented media catastrophe has just struck Los Angeles, and what you are about to witness is not a glitch, not a misunderstanding, not creative differences. It is a live execution of a marriage, exposed in front of millions, with the Duchess unmasked by her own mother and a prince detonating his wife's empire in real time. This wasn't television. This was betrayal, staged in HD. Los Angeles glittered that night, but inside that Montecito mansion, the air felt like a sealed tomb. Curtains drawn, sunlight banned, a luxury bunker dressed in orchids and marble. And there it was, the red folder. Bold, obvious, lying on the polished table like a loaded weapon. $50 million printed in black ink. She wasn't staring at the contract. She was staring at herself. Meghan stood in front of the mirror, adjusting something far more important than paperwork. She tilted her head, tested the angle of her smile, measured the exposure of teeth like a surgeon calibrating a blade. 10 seconds. No cracks, no exhaustion, no calculation, only the mask of a fulfilled wife. Across the room sat Harry. Not a prince, not a hero, not even a husband. Just a man staring at the bottom of an empty scotch glass like it held answers. His hand trembled, not dramatically, not theatrically, just enough to betray a mind under siege. She crossed the room in silence and snatched the glass from him. Drops of alcohol splattered onto his cuff like tiny confessions. He didn't protest, he didn't flinch, he just looked up with eyes that had already surrendered. She leaned close, fingers gripping his chin, nails pressing into skin. She wiped at the stain on his shirt as if she were erasing evidence of weakness. Then she nodded toward the red folder. Time to perform. He swallowed. He nodded. And in that nod was the death of pride. She glided to the wall, slid aside a painting, revealed the safe. Code entered. iPad removed from her handbag and buried beside stacks of cash and velvet jewelry boxes. That wasn't storage. That was containment. From the hallway shadows, Doria watched. She didn't hear shouting. No plates breaking. No dramatic screams. Just something worse. Quiet control. She saw her daughter close that safe like a prison guard locking a cell. And she saw Harry sitting there like the inmate. She memorized the safe's location because mothers always know when something is wrong. Backstage, chaos buzzed under white lights. Makeup brushes danced across Meghan's face. She sat still, regal, eyes closed, absorbing attention like oxygen. Harry sat on a wooden crate alone. No one approached him. No laughter. No conversation. Just glances, pitying, curious, cautious. Then the phone lit up. Lawyer. She dismissed the makeup team with a flick of her fingers. Speaker on. Voice calm. The exit file is complete, Duchess. Divorce petition drafted under California law. Evidence of Harry's mental instability included. Absolute custody secured. Harry's head snapped up. Rigid. Frozen. She didn't even blink. She reapplied lipstick. Assets? One-time spousal support request of $100 million. Clause barring him from media contact for 10 years without your authorization. Harry stood. She turned her chair and silenced him with a glare. Then she lifted a photo. A staged snapshot. Harry slumped beside a bottle, Archie crying nearby. Clever angles. Manufactured narrative. One more step and that image becomes tomorrow's headline. He stopped moving. File it when the Netflix money clears, she said. Freedom by Monday. Hung up. Silence. Harry sat down slowly, head in hands, no tears. Pain beyond tears. Doria's chest tightened. This wasn't drama. This was execution by paperwork. When Meghan left, ordering security to watch him, something shifted. Harry tapped his shoe 3 times against the floor, glanced beneath the red velvet sofa. Doria dropped her handkerchief, reached, cold plastic, an old black Nokia, drafts folder, one unsent message. Recipient, W divorce trap activated. Target $100 million plus custody. Evidence location, iPad and Montecito safe. Code 040881. Save your nephews. Doria's heart pounded. He wasn't broken. He was waiting. She photographed the message, returned the phone, slipped back into place. She wasn't just a mother now. She was a courier. The stage was a fabricated Eden. White roses everywhere, artificial purity. Meghan leaned into the interviewer, voice trembling with manufactured vulnerability. We just want to protect our family from dark forces. Harry stared into nothing. 3 seconds of silence on live television. Her nails dug into his knee. Smile. He recoiled just slightly, but cameras saw it. Her face flickered, rage disguised as affection. She locked his arm under the guise of intimacy. Smile. She hissed. Doria watched from the audience, fingers tightening around her phone. phone. She saw fear in her son-in-law's eyes. And then the surprise was announced. Doria. She didn't glide up the carpet. She stormed the stage. No hug, no polite exchange. She grabbed the microphone and hurled it down. Feedback shrieked through the studio. Stop acting. She screamed. It's all a lie. Security moved. Meghan lunged. Harry stepped between them. Let her speak. For the first time in years, he shielded someone from his wife. Doria lifted her phone toward the camera. Look at the truth. On the massive LED screen, the image appeared. Exit strategy. Divorce filing Monday. Target $100 million settlement. Gasps. Chaos. She had been exposed not as a victim, but as an architect. Meghan froze. Eyes wide. Control slipping. Cut the feed. Too late. The internet had already swallowed it whole. And in that moment, the fairy tale combusted. Part 2. The moment the screen went black, the illusion didn't die quietly. It exploded. Security stormed the stage. Producers screamed into headsets. Audience members stood up, phones already recording, because in 2026, nothing truly goes off air. The fairy tale had cracked open, and what spilled out wasn't heartbreak, it was strategy, contracts, and cold calculation. Meghan didn't cry, she didn't collapse, she snapped. Her hand cut through the air and struck Harry across the face so hard the sound echoed even without microphones. Hundreds in the studio saw it. No edit could erase that. No publicist could spin it. Traitor, I gave you everything. Harry didn't dodge. He didn't retaliate. He just stood there, absorbing it like the final tax on freedom. A thin line of blood appeared at the corner of his lip. He wiped it away calmly, adjusted his jacket, and looked at her, not with love, not with hatred, but with something far more terrifying. Detachment. Security tried to restrain her, but she fought them. Hair falling out of place, mascara no longer perfect, screaming, "You have nothing. I hold your passport. I hold your children. You are nothing without me." And that's when it happened. Harry glanced at his wrist. An Apple Watch, a small red envelope icon blinking. He tapped it once, calmly. "I don't need a passport to destroy your career, Meg," he said, voice cutting clean through the chaos. Across the studio and far beyond it, phones vibrated simultaneously. Reporters, editors, international newsrooms, major publications. Subject line, the truth about the deal. An automated email from the office of the Duke of Sussex. Not emotional, not dramatic. Strategic. Attached, a 50-page PDF. Draft divorce petition bearing Meghan's preliminary signature dated months before the Netflix contract signing. Audio recordings. Conversations captured quietly through his watch. Clips of her mocking the late Queen. Plans to smear Catherine in coordinated media attacks to boost book sales. Internal memos outlining timing. Netflix payout first, divorce filing second. A reporter gasped audibly while scrolling. "Oh my God, she called the Queen." Meghan heard it. And in that split second, her entire empire collapsed in her eyes. She had believed Harry was passive, distracted, controlled. She never imagined he was documenting everything, waiting, building a dead man's switch. She stepped backward as if the stage itself had tilted. "You," she stammered. Harry leaned closer, voice low enough that only she could hear. "You wanted the role of a lifetime. I just gave it to you." And just like that, the devoted wife narrative flipped. Now she was the villain. The Montecito mansion felt colder that night than it ever had. Phones wouldn't stop ringing. Lawyers, executives, crisis managers. Netflix legal issued notice within hours, contract terminated. Moral clause violation. $50 million in damages demanded. Spotify quietly removed her catalog. Fashion houses distanced themselves with carefully worded statements. Her phone shattered against the marble floor at some point during the meltdown, but the landline kept ringing and ringing and ringing. Meanwhile, Harry sat in the VIP lounge at Lax. No security circus, no grand farewell. Just a man in a suit and a woman beside him, Doria, holding his hand in silence. They didn't speak. There was nothing left to say. The runway lights blinked outside in steady rhythm. A commercial flight waited. Not a royal jet, not a private charter, just economy airspace. He was flying back to London not as a prince reclaiming glory, but as a man who had burned his last bridge. Rain fell over London the same night. Inside an office at Kensington Palace, Prince William stood by the window watching it streak down the glass. His phone rang. Harry. The private secretary waited. "Your Highness, he says he wants to come home." William didn't answer immediately. Memories surfaced. Interviews, accusations, books, the wounded face of his wife after being dragged through headlines, the Queen's final years overshadowed by family warfare. Yes, Harry had detonated Meghan's strategy. Yes, he had exposed manipulation. But he had also aimed his words, his documentaries, his interviews at his own blood. He had fired first. William turned from the window. The phone continued ringing. He picked it up, looked at the name. name. Press decline, then open settings, blocked contact. Notify security at Heathrow, he said coldly. Harry Windsor is no longer a working royal. If he arrives, he is to be treated like any other passenger. The secretary hesitated. William didn't. The gates will not open, and that was that. Harry had won the war inside his marriage, but he had lost the war for his family. The plane landed in London under gray skies. No motorcade waited, no palisade, just drizzle and distant traffic. He stepped onto British soil as a man without a side. Meghan, back in California, sat on the kitchen floor surrounded by empty bottles and broken plans. The iPad still hidden in the safe. The code still memorized by her mother. The villain narrative was cemented now. Headlines screamed. Commentators feasted. But here's the twist no one wants to admit. There were no true winners. Meghan lost her image. Harry lost his home. William lost his brother. And Doria lost the illusion she once defended. The world watched the spectacle and picked sides like it was sport. Victim or traitor? Mastermind or survivor? Was Harry a man escaping captivity or a man escaping consequences? Was Meghan calculating from day one, or did desperation turn ambition into cruelty? And perhaps the most dangerous question of all, if Harry hadn't activated that watch, if Doria hadn't stepped onto that stage, if that LED screen had stayed black, would the divorce have unfolded quietly, legally, profitably, exactly as planned? Because what we witnessed wasn't just a marital implosion. It was a chess game played at global scale. Contracts as weapons, reputation as currency, love as leverage. Harry escaped the gilded cage, but freedom, stripped of loyalty and belonging, can feel like exile. The rain kept falling in London. The Montecito mansion stayed dark, and somewhere between California and Kensington, a prince became just a man, alone with the consequences of every choice that led him here. Now tell me, is he a pitiful victim who finally broke free, or a reckless traitor who burned down everything and expected to walk back into the palace? Because in this story, there was never going to be a fairy tale ending. Only fallout. Ending. Only fallout. Ending. Only fallout. Ending.